That means that I want you to aggressively drive change, but I also need you to recognize that that change takes time and be patient with it.
Less you and more them. More we. I want to hear more we out there. There's still a lot, there's too much you. Are you reflecting on that? Think about your legacy, for God's sakes. What are you leaving behind? What will people say about you when you're gone? Oh, I'm glad that asshole left the company. And how often does that happen? Don't be one of those.
There is no easy button in becoming great at hiring. So in the world of let AI do it, I'm saying don't. Don't let AI try and help you become great at hiring. You invest in yourself, get great at hiring, invest in your process, understand it, treat it like a product.
Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh Show.
Episode 100 of our leadership pivot.
Woo! Woohoo! Metacasters. Yes. Woo! 1 with 2 sphinctered zeros after it.
What is wrong with you? We were off to such a decent start, and then you just tied the world's largest anchor to it and dropped it into the Marianas Trench. And it is all the way.
I'm out of control. I'm out of control, Medicaid. But this is episode 100.
Yes. Of our leadership pivot. So for those of you that have been around with us for a long time, we spent hundreds of episodes, probably 200 plus, maybe close to 300, focused on Agile. And then 100 episodes ago, we decided to make a pivot towards leadership because we felt that leadership, specifically technical leadership, if we can fix that, there's so many things that we can fix beyond just Agile. So this is our broader approach to try and help everybody live and work in a better world. And that's what we're doing. So for our century mark, Bob came up with an idea. Not only did he come up with an idea, but he also flaunted a little bit. He's like, hey, Josh, I've got an idea for episode 100. And oh, by the way, I already have my part figured out. See you Monday. So yeah, but that's okay. I stepped up to the plate and I'm ready to go.
The plate. Well,
I am going to crush you.
No, don't be boastful. We can only determine if you stepped up to the plate after. I mean, you may be lame,
like Babe
my
Ruth.
friend.
I'm calling my shot here.
Oh, okay. All right, then you call it, bucko.
Yeah, shots have been called. So, okay, I will let Robert let everybody know what this one's about. So here we go. The floor is yours, Bob.
So there's a famous quote in a movie, and I'm thinking, please, sir, can I have some more? And that's where we're going today, Metacasters. We're looking to the future and saying leadership is here and we want more of something. We're greedy. We want more in the future. Now the question is, more what? Leaning into more, all right, is where we're going. And each the premise is, I asked Josh, why don't we do our famous list,
World
bouncing
famous
ball discussion. Yes. Let's have 4 this time. So I have 4 mores, future mores. Leaders, get up off your chair, get out of your chair and do more in these areas. And Josh has 4.
Yes, I do.
You want me to start, Josh, or do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, yeah, because we want to finish strong. So you start first, Bob.
I like the way you think. You're getting a little cocky, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, I had to meet the challenge that was thrown out.
The higher they fly, the harder they hit the ground when they fall, my friend. So everyone, I want more women in leadership is my first more. Things I have, why not? There's no reason why not. I think in a lot of cases, I've worked with so many dynamic, smart, capable women, and then I look at male leadership in the world, and I'm like, man, this is an opportunity-rich landscape, and to upskill our leaders. In all seriousness, I don't know what the percentages are. Maybe 10% of leaders, 20%, I'm probably being generous, probably less than 20% of leadership positions are filled by women. So
especially in the technical space,
especially,
which is already a challenge.
You're absolutely right. So I want to challenge everyone listening. What can we do? What can we do to break that glass ceiling? What can we do to be the shoulders that on which women are standing? What can we do to support groups like Women in Agile? I do that a lot. Or Women in Leadership. What can we do to become advocates? We've talked about that historically in the Metacast. What does that role of advocacy look like? I know Josh has done this in the past. It's not a tale that he's told. I've seen him lift women up in his experience. And we need more women. We sort of looked at masculine tendencies and feminine tendencies once, how women lately, how men characteristics in leadership and women characteristics in leadership. And I think Josh was uncomfortable in that. It's sort of this. Let's not dissect it, was his comfort, right? Let's talk about leadership. But there are feminine characteristics that I'd love to bring into leadership. And they're not necessarily just in women. I saw the New England Patriots yesterday, and the coach of the New England Patriots runs out on the field. And I don't think this is common in all the NFL coaches. I forget his name. He used to play linebacker for the Patriots. And every person that got injured, he was on the field. In one case, this guy was in excruciating pain and he's holding his hand. To me, that's a leader exhibiting a feminine characteristic. What's it called? It's called care. It's called concern. And I think we need more of that. So we need more women in leadership to role model that behavior. So then the men are getting this balancing act as well in the role modeling. So that's my more. It's time. We haven't had a woman president, Josh? No, we haven't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, what's up with that? What's up with that? And I mean, do you think men are doing so great in these leadership roles that they, we're doing such a great job? So I'll stop ranting. That's my more.
Okay. Comments or on the mind? How do you want to handle this?
Whatever you want.
Okay,
go for it.
So what can you do? That's a thing of for those listening and watching. Aside from Bob and I saying, hey, we'd like to see more of this, I also like to partner with like the tactical, what can you do? So it's just a door opener, and I have tried to open doors as early as possible. So I have done whatever I could in school with my children and opportunities to talk about the spaces that I work and make sure that when I talk about roles that I don't ever genderize them. Yep. That's a thing, that just talk about like they or us or we. Or one of the things that I've done that I've actually heard feedback from female coworkers of mine is there's this old term of like man hours. And so I said, I'm not going to say man hours. I'm going to say people hours.
Yep.
Or like people years or people months. And the number of co-workers that I've had like stop me and say like, Josh, thanks for saying people hours or people months and not like man hours. Because, yes, as a species, there's man, but like, hey, like we aren't all men here. So just like little things, door openers, things like that you could do to make a difference and ensure that the door that was previously closed or maybe cracked open, that you push it open a little bit more and encourage folks to walk through it. So I believe that's a role that we can play. That's something that everybody watching and listening can do to make this happen. Okay.
Real quickly, everyone too, actions. if you have direct reports right now, if you have management direct reports, so if you're a director or a VP, and then look at your reports and how many men and how many women, and ask yourself, have I missed the mark? And then what are you doing about it to grow and mentor women into those roles? I have a track record of being pretty aggressive in looking for female woman candidates for leadership roles, and being incredibly and it's not about they're skilled, they're highly skilled, they're highly capable. I mean, it wasn't about me. It was about letting them shine and then sitting back and reaping the rewards of having these wonderful women. Carol, what was her name? Carol
Versalino.
Versalino was someone that I worked with at Eye Contact, I think, as a leader. Mm-hmm. She didn't report to me directly. She reported to someone in the hierarchy that reported to me. But wonderful leader. Mm-hmm. And setting a role model for her. And I think she reported to Josh, or she went to work with Josh. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, I think she started her own small company. I don't know if she's still doing that. But the point is, what a trajectory. That's just one example of a trajectory. Women rock. And so let's do something about it. Josh, go ahead.
Okay. I have two that are built on contradictory statements, but I believe they're effectively contradictory. So here we go. The first one you've probably heard me say before, and it is one of my favorite things to say, is we need leaders to operate with a reasonable amount of unreasonableness. What the heck does that mean, Josh? What are you saying? What I'm asking leaders to do is just press the I believe button and try stuff and be willing to do stuff that others think may not be able to be done. Because after all, if you're doing the same thing everybody else is doing, are you really leading? Here's the answer. No. So I don't see enough leaders that are willing to say, you know what? I believe we can do this differently. I believe we can do this better, and have a passion and willingness to try and make that happen. And it might not work. That's okay. But be willing to put themselves out there and say, organization, leaders, executive team, we can be better, we can do better, and I have an idea. And let's rally around that and make that become a thing. I unfortunately see too many leaders that fall in line or reduce risk and just kind of do the status quo. And one of the coaching models that I've always had is status quo is status no, meaning you aren't leading at that point anymore. You are effectively following. And so we need more leaders that are willing to be slightly unreasonable and say, you know what, this thing that people said never could be done, we're going to give it a shot. And you know what, folks, I think we can do it.
I think I've been nailing that for like decades, Josh. A leader that is slightly unreasonable. I've been exceeding that. I've been jumping over that bar.
Yes. And the thing I really want to ask people to do is just lean into that unreasonable side, that side where you start to say, eesh, am I sure about this? Because your natural instinct is to play it safe. And that doesn't make great things happen. Great things don't happen by playing it safe. Now, great things can also be great disasters. I've been a part of great disasters where I thought this thing was going to be great and it blew up in my face. But I was willing to reset and try it again. So that is like, if there's one thing, that is the top of my list that I want forward, that if I look back, I'm sitting in my easy chair 25 years from now thinking about, man, what does leadership look like today? And if we have just a little bit more of that, you know what? Okay, you think this can't be done? I'll show you. And my team's going to go make it happen. So that's my one item.
I like the fact of, I mean, to me, it's leaders leading, Josh, is what you're saying. Yeah. It's like, just don't play it safe. I'll say unreasonables. I'm thinking a little craziness as well. Yeah. Like a little bit of craziness as a leader. Yeah. People look at you and you're like, and trust me, now that I think about it, people have looked at me for quite a few years and said he's a little weird or
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
And it's dangerous. It requires courage and all of that, and it won't always work. It
Right.
won't always work. But you've been a damn it. You've led.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that bugs me, right? Leader is this sort of, it's an action. It's leadership. It's leading. It's leading from the front, and too often folks don't get that.
Yes.
Did
Okay.
you want to do your other one, Josh?
I mean, if you want me to go back to back, I can do that. Is that
No,
what you prefer?
no. I want the bouncing ball, but you
Okay.
seem to.
All right.
All right.
No.
My next more Metacasters is more sustainability and leadership, and what I mean by that is things like balancing the earth with profit. Like when I think of sustainability, I'm thinking about the earth. I'm thinking about what are we doing wasting energy. I think about AI and what is AI doing in energy consumption and caring about that stuff. I'm caring about how we're creating our products, how we're influencing our customers, how we're integrating with our vendors, and are we working with vendors who don't care about sustainability? Uh, uh, Things like we're all related is I add in it. Thinking about what I do here affects folks in Africa. What folks in Africa does affects folks in Ukraine, and being cognizant of that, role modeling that. As a leader, I'm not saying you have to go and change the K cups to be more, sort of, earth eco-friendly. You can, but what's your role model about that? What's your sustainable? What, in this case, more sustainability in leadership is it's what are you doing? What are you passionate about? What are you emanating as important in the world? One thing to catch your attention is think about your children and your grandchildren. What are you leaving? What are we leaving for them? And we should be concerned that we're leaving a crappy earth behind. I'm concerned that I'm leaving a crappy earth behind, and I'm really beginning to lean into doing something different. Not just me personally, but in my coaching. And it's subtle. I might talk about it. I might raise an anecdote. I might say, "Have you read this book?" Or what do you think, is there anything we can do in this relationship to save energy? To do something to create a more sustainable world. If there's an opportunity for that discussion, it could be a coffee or a water cooler discussion, but weaving sustainability into our leadership style and conversations is what I'm talking about. I want to see more of that. I'm disappointed that I'm not seeing more of that, that we're stewards of this earth, right? So what, and as leaders, we are in an influence position. So what do we do about being stewards of the earth in our influence leadership position?
I was very lucky early in my career. It would have been, my third job. As I moved back to Northeast Ohio, I worked for a small insurance company, and the leadership team there was fantastic. And they did exactly what you're talking about. So they modeled giving. They set the standard, and it became a part of the identity of the company. And it was a small company, and what they focused on was raising money to give to St. Jude's for cancer research for kids, and that was the cause. So what Bob's saying is, as a leader, you have an opportunity to champion a cause, and that was the cause for this org. And they went in, and it was a piece. It was the identity of that company, and everybody that worked there felt and understood and gave time, energy, money, everything they could. And that was the first and I think the only company that I've ever worked at where that leadership team did such an amazing job of just making that, like, this is who we are, and that's what we do. So I have seen it, and it makes a difference. And I encourage everyone that is in a position to model that behavior, please. Like, I echo what Bob's saying, because it does make a difference, and it has a expanding effect as you think about the hundreds of people that you work with. And so now they're thinking about that, and then they go work somewhere else. They're like, hey, why aren't we doing more? And just raising those questions. So
Real quickly, Metacasters, I mean, this isn't, I know I sound preachy, but I put my money where my mouth is. So we just ran Badass Agile Coaching Days. And the proceeds of Badass Agile Coaching Days was split between Women in Agile and Africa Agility, two organizations that are supporting women. And the point is, last year, the entire conference was focused on sustainability. That's just me and my little influence bubble. I'm trying to make a difference. I'm trying to be intentional. How big is it? I don't know, but I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue doing it. And that's a responsibility. And that's I just wanted to say. I'm not just talking about it. I do it, and I will continue to do it. Josh, what do you got?
My number 2 item is that we need, especially in these AI empowered times, we need leaders to become great at hiring. This is something that I have seen so few leaders be really great at, let alone just good. There are really not enough good hiring leaders. There's a few great, and when you get great at hiring, just life gets better. Life gets easier because the people you bring on start to accelerate each other. And it's hard work. I accept that. And there is no easy button in becoming great at hiring. So in the world of let AI do it, I'm saying don't let AI try and help you become great at hiring. You invest in yourself, get great at hiring, invest in your process, understand it, treat it like a product, understand it. And that can and will be a superpower for your own growth and career, that when you get good at hiring, your teams become better, your products become better, success becomes the norm, and that compounds. But not enough people invest the time, effort, and energy to really become effective at that. And I was forced into a position where I didn't have a choice. And as I look back, boy, I wish I'd have figured that out sooner. But once I figured it out, just the accelerant was crazy. And so now that has been something that I have just continually leaned into and continued to coach and really push people to become good at that. Not forget that, become great at it. So yeah, that is my number 2.
I'm going to add, and I'm thinking of AI and HR and all of the filtering systems and AI doing entry-level interviews. I have not experienced this, but I've heard people talk about, I was interviewed by an AI and rejected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Metacasters, great hiring is not instrumented. Great, that you can have some instrumentation, but you need to, as a leader, step in. I know this goes back, I'm amplifying where Josh's hard work. You need to step in and look at papers. You need to step in and look between the lines. You need to step into your network and solicit folks for the network. You need to widen your lens into what's going on. And it requires personal effort. This is old-fashioned. Great interviewing requires you to get your skin in the game, not to have someone hand you pre-canned, pre-filtered candidates with buzzwords that have met filtered criteria and stuff. A little bit of that, but you need to look between the lines. It's anytime I've hired people, it required hard work, and it was my honor to invest that hard, because this is the most important thing you can do, is hire great people. As a great recruiter, as a great hirer, you need to. That's one of the biggest aspects of leadership. So I find that I'm listening to a lot of people who are out of work, and I'm listening to awful experiences. And these are great. There are great people out there who are bouncing off companies. And I'm like, how the hell can they make that mistake? That's a mistake. And so don't make those mistakes. Be great.
Yeah. What you need to do is you need to own the hiring process.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean you don't work with HR. It means you partner with them, but you inspect anytime there's a failure. So somebody that makes it the whole way through the process and gets to the end and then you don't hire them. Figure out how you could have detected that sooner. Or maybe you make a hire and it didn't work out. Inspect, how did that hiring process go? What tweaks should we make? Look at your good hires. Understand how that flowed. Understand how that worked out. Ask people that you've hired, what do you think about our hiring process? What was good? What was bad? What was frustrating?
Exactly.
What could we change? And help them shape that for the future. But you have to own it. There are too many people that opt to outsource the hiring, and they just want this person to magically show up in their lap. That's the perfect hire. And guess what? That doesn't happen. Like, if that's what you're hoping and waiting for, you're going to continually be disappointed. You have to own the process and make it happen. Okay, I'm off my hiring.
I love that you brought that up, Josh.
Yeah. Okay.
My third more is more self-awareness and humility in leadership. I don't know how to say this. I'm just going to say it. There's a lot of obnoxious assholes in leaders' positions, and they're incompetent, or they have mediocre competency, and then they have this bravado, and I see it all the time, and we need less of that. We need less of that. I mean, leadership needs to have a bit of cockiness and a bit of ego and a bit, but this is over the top. And you can see it put on the TV. You see it in political systems. You see it in leaders, interview of financial CEOs of sort of financial companies. There's a bit of, I'm like, come on, where's your egolessness? And are you talking about your team? Less you and more them. More we. I want to hear more we out there. There's still there's too much you. Are you reflecting on that? Think about your legacy, for God's sakes. What are you leaving behind? What will people say about you when you're going, oh, that, whew, I'm glad that asshole left the company. And how often does that happen? Don't be one of those. There's this Bezos notion of your brand, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room, right? What do you do? What are people saying about you when you're not in the room? And imagine it. And they're reacting to your persona. Do you need to work on your persona? Increase your self-awareness. If people are giving you feedback, don't be defensive. Take it. It's feedback, right? Increase your self-awareness and then increase your humility. It doesn't mean you're a sheep. It actually means you're an effective leader, and consider that. So I want to see less of that braggadociousness in the world. We need less of that. We need human leadership, particularly in this age of AI, right? The human needs to rise. That's maybe what I'm saying here, right? We can't abdicate and just have an ego, sort of persona. You need to bring it. You need to bring your humanness. Enough of that.
So I find a lot of parallels, and in the world of sports, there's it's a great example of great leaders and poor leaders. So in the world of college football, there have been a lot of fired coaches, and there's a lot of coaches having new success. And I look at the stark difference between Brian Kelly, who was fired at LSU.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah,
yes.
It is all about Brian Kelly. And then Kurt Cignetti, I hope I got his name right, the Indiana Hoosiers coach, who is the opposite. And it is just about the team. And he is more soft-spoken. And again, that doesn't mean he's not a strong, passionate leader, but it's about the team first. Whereas with Brian Kelly, it was clear from the first moment I saw him coach, as he coached at Cincinnati at my school, I'm like, ooh, I don't like the way this guy leads. He wins and he's good, which is nice, but it just doesn't feel good. And so there have been many things that have come from former LSU players about Brian Kelly, like, I think we're going to be better without him because of what he puts first. And he puts himself first and team second, and the team is serving him, versus the type of leaders, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame, Indiana coach, various coaches that, surprise, surprise, are winning, put that team first and are in support of them. And so in the sports world, there's bigger personalities, and it's on display, and they're put in front of microphones, right? So CEO of a company makes a mistake, there's not a press conference that says like, hey, you were a bit of a jerk on the sideline, what happened and why, right? That doesn't happen. But in the sports world, that's on television, people get asked. So it is a more visible way. It's a microcosm of what happens in your companies. So I support that 1,000,000% and agree with Bob as usual.
What do you got?
What's that?
What do you got, Josh? Next one.
What do I have next? Here's one of my more frustrating patterns in my life as I was becoming a leader and aspiring to grow into new roles and have larger sets of responsibility. I got told repeatedly, oh, Josh, you have to learn the business. And that's all I got. And I was like, well, what does that mean? What, like, I don't understand. What do you mean learn the business? Like, I'm in the business. I'm building the product, this business. I don't get it. Then as I had the opportunity to help other companies, and when I became a leader in the product space, I now understood what people were trying to say, but communicating very poorly, was that you need to understand that understanding the business means that you understand how money flows through your company, how your sales and marketing team educates customers on the solution that we have to the problems that they have, why those customers choose us versus somebody else, what it's like to buy our product, what it's like to have our product installed and the onboarding process, what happens when something goes wrong. And I call support. How do they deal with that? What happens when I send in a payment, or I want to cancel, or anything like that, or I want to do an upgrade? What is that like? So understanding the full experience as a customer of dealing with your company and really understanding that. So I implore anybody watching and listening that has heard, you need to understand the business, spend time cross-functionally across the organization and understand how, from step 0 of reaching out to a customer, to talking to a customer, to closing a deal, to onboarding them, to supporting them, to exiting them or expanding the footprint that we have with them, spend time understanding that and understand the full life cycle that a customer goes through with your company. And that will help you make better decisions, suggestions, strategy, whatever it is. But that is one of those things that just, the sooner you figure that out, the more effective you're going to be.
I mean, I just want to lean in to integrate with your customer, get to know your customers, collaborate with them, invite them in, go visit them virtually, physically. I remember at iContact, one of the things that Ralph Kasuba made us do that I resisted initially was hang on customer support calls. So the entire engineering staff, every month we had 4 hours. He put in a requirement that we spend 4 hours on the phone in customer support. And I resisted. I'm like, I did the math. I was a jerk. I did the hourly math and the investment math. And I'm like, are you really willing to spend $1 million to get to know the customers, you jerk? And Ralph was kind to me. He's like, Bob, settle down, settle down. Yes, I am willing to spend that. I think it's important and I need your support. So shut up. And start supporting me. And I did. And it was one of the wisest things we ever did. It improved our quality. It improved our awareness of product. It improved our roadmaps. It improved our revenue, our ROI. It improved everything. It just something as simple as sit with your customers. So 100%. Here's my final one.
Okay.
My final one is spend more time. I want more leadership growing the next generation. I think we've talked in here about succession planning. I've written about succession planning on my blogs and stuff. We're not doing enough of it. I don't think leaders think I don't know why. Selfishness, fear, greed. I don't know why, but I don't see enough leaders. Like, again, it aligns with what Josh was saying. Hiring, number one. I mean, building teams, become great at it. In addition to that, integrated with that is mentoring, is growing leaders, growing individuals in your organization. I want to see more and more of that, where folks are greedy about growing. Oh, I need to spend more time with Josh. Josh Anderson he's a piece of coal, but maybe, just maybe, I can turn him into a diamond after 22 years.
Maybe,
So,
maybe.
maybe
He's still trying.
I'll keep putting pressure on Josh. So no, but mentoring, coaching, advocacy, agency, checking the empowering agency. There's this notion of checking the agency of folks in your organization. Where is it at? Check it. Is it sufficient? Are folks out there being rambunctious? Josh talked earlier, about that little. We talked about craziness. Is everyone a little crazy? Is everyone engaging at that level? So growing that next generation. Hate to tell you, Metacasters, none of us are going to live forever. Speaking from personal experience. And we slow down. And as you get older, it gets a little harder. I think we have a fundamental responsibility to grow the next generation. So that's my final more, and I'm sticking to it.
I agree completely. I don't know how to do anything other than say yes. And that's another investment and energy and requirement that people opt out of. So make sure that you're looking around at your organization and saying, who's next? How am I supporting them? What can I give them? How can I challenge them? What opportunities can I provide them with? You as a leader have to be active in that. It's an active thing to grow and enable that next set of leaders. But if you don't make it happen, it's not going to happen, and then you're gonna turn around and say, "Dang, I messed that up." So, okay.
Well, make it objectives. Throw it in OKRs. You want some practical. Again, it's what are we making important, and you can't say, "Oh, it's all important." No, you have, what is your one? What is your two? What is your three as a leader? And how are you communicating that down? And how are you modeling that? So you want some practical advice? Put it on someone's growth. Give them a goal. Measure them on a goal. Succession planning is your number 2 priority. Product, number 2, build your team. And then really talk about that. I'm sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Okay, so my final one is another contradictory statement that I came up with last night at about 12:30, and I got really excited. And it parallels the journey that Bob and I have had together as friends and co-workers. Is I want more leaders to be aggressively patient. So what the heck does that mean? That means that I want you to aggressively drive change, but I also need you to recognize that change takes time and be patient with it. So you need to always be pushing to drive that change, but you also need to accept, acknowledge, and support the change curve that your team members are going through, and recognizing that everybody is going to progress through that change curve at their own pace, and you need to support them through that and allow them to work through it at their own pace, while also continually challenging to say that we need to get better. And maybe it's not out loud, maybe it's just within you. You're talking about, okay, how do I get this better? How do I support? How do I move us forward? So it's this uncomfortable tension of you're trying to go faster, but also you recognize the limitations within the system, and you're always allowing those two to combat a little bit, but you recognize that they both exist. And I can tell you, early in my career, I was aggressive without patience. And Bob was the guy coming in trying to get me to be patient and trying to get this young whippersnapper, as he would say, to chill out. And hey, we're going to get there. It's okay. Relax. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Trust me, Josh, we're doing the right thing. It's going to happen. But I was unwilling to slow down and see that. I was unwilling to accept that people weren't making changes at the pace I thought that they should make them, or the pace with which I was able to make those changes. So be aggressively patient, drive change, but also recognize that change is hard and change takes time. So as a leader, if you want to do the things that we're talking about, you're going to be driving a lot of change, and it's going to be frustrating because it's not going to happen as quickly as you want. And no one's going to want the change like you want the change, but you have to continue pushing while being patient and allowing it to flow through that system. So I just want that awareness for leaders sooner than when I discovered it. It took Bob probably decades of beating into my head before I'm like, oh, I get it now, Bob. So yeah,
I don't know if that's true. I mean, you've learned on your own, but the real add I want to make is it's not just your patience based on your drivers. So I'm 100% on board with this balancing act, and it is a balancing act that Josh talked about. But in my experience, and I don't know if Josh, you've seen this, but everyone had an opinion about my staff. Mm-hmm. Everyone outside would come, and usually it was they're not doing enough. Mostly it was negative. Well, it was couched under constructive, or I'm giving you some. Geez, I'm getting a little feisty right now, but everyone had an opinion, and so I think we need to be patient, even when we're getting this incredible external pressure to put. So there's the pressure we put on. Then there's the pressure that everyone else has on your staff. And the higher priority the project they're working on, the more pressure you're going to get, the more executives that are going to be pounding you on the head, etc. And in that, and you want to have, how do I dilute that or focus that and give the right amount of pressure in balance with patience? And it's the patience against all of that. Mm-hmm. And as a leader, I think you have to defend that. And it annoys the crap. I mean, because I don't do that to other people. I really have a pattern where I don't judge other people's, unless they're terrible, unless they're assholes. I don't go in and muddle around. I assume someone is building their team and they're striking the balance. But a lot of times folks get in my shorts around that. And we have to be strong. We have to be strong and be patient amongst that chaos. And that's all so it's like a +1, Josh.
Agreed. Yeah, I treat those as we are the ones on the field doing the work, figuring it out. Yep. And there are a lot of opinionated voices in the stands, on radio, on TV shows that have opinions about what we're doing, but we're doing what we're doing. We have a belief in what we're doing. We know we're going to get there. We know we're progressing. We know we're working as hard as we can. We know we have the best people on it. And there's all kinds of noise out there, but that's just noise.
So Josh and I, Metacasters, we perceive ourselves, and I think we are, we're thought leaders in this agile and leadership space. We have a shit ton of experience and a shit ton of mistakes, and we're out there caring passionately. So I think the final word from both of us, and I'll do it first, is we're going to circle back to the beginning of this episode. And I'm going to say, and Josh is going to repeat it too, please, sir, can I have some more?
I don't know what that quote's from. And I know you're going to be disappointed.
I don't either. It's from an old movie. It's in English.
It's a quote from a movie and then not know what it's from. Oh my gosh!
But no, you're avoiding the. You gotta.
I can't say it if I don't know where it's from. I don't know what it is. Please, sir, can I have some more?
It's from Oliver Twist, a Charles Dickens.
Wow. Okay.
So now your excuse is gone.
Saw that
Ready?
Once. Please, sir, can I have some more?
No.
I can't say it like that.
No.
Do I have to say it with?
You have to say it with an English accent.
Can I have some more?
All right. Yes, I'll take that. Hey, from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina.
And beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North Carolina.
I'm Bob Galen.
And I'm Josh Anderson.
Shake.
And bake.
Take care, y'all. And give yourself some more.